But here is the really ugly fact, even worse than that. And that is that in this country, on average, if you are a working class person, you will live 7 years shorter lives than if you're the top 1%. If you're a working class person, your life will be 7 years shorter than if you are wealthy. In other words, being poor or working class in America today amounts to a death sentence. Mr. President, it's not only a broken healthcare system. We have got to ask ourselves a simple question, and the Biden administration began a little bit of movement in this direction. And that is, why are we living in a nation where 1 out of 4 people can't even afford the prescription drugs their doctors prescribe? Why are we in some cases paying 10 times more than our neighbors in Canada or in Europe? How does that happen? And the answer, of course, has to do with the greed of the pharmaceutical industry and their power right here, all of the campaign contributions that they make, which has prevented us from negotiating prices. But it's not just healthcare or prescription drugs when we look at what's going on in America. In Vermont and throughout this country, we have a major housing crisis. Here we are, the richest country on earth, 800,000 people sleeping out on the streets, and 20 million people are spending more than 50% of their limited incomes on housing. Can you imagine that? You're a working person spending 50% of your income on housing. How do you have money to do anything else? And the cost of the housing is soaring. Do not tell me, Mr. President, that in a nation which could spend $1 trillion on the military, a nation that gives massive tax breaks to the rich, that we cannot build the millions of units of housing that we desperately need. Mr. President, why is all of this happening? Why do we have a healthcare system that's broken? Prescription drugs that are the most expensive in the world, a housing system, education in deep trouble. Talked to educators in Vermont all over the country. Talked to a principal the other day from Vermont. Their starting salary in a public school, $32,000 a year. But don't worry, they can't afford to bring people in because they can't afford the housing in the community. Why have we let education sink to the level that it has? So I think the bottom line of all this, the American people, I think, are catching on. And Mr. Musk, I must thank him because he has made it very clear. We are living in an oligarchic form of society. If anybody out there thinks that Mr. Musk is running around out of the goodness of his heart, trying to make our government more efficient, you have not a clue as to what is going on. What these guys want to do is destroy virtually every federal program that impacts the well-being of working people, Social Security, Medicare, Postal Service, public education, you name it. So they can get huge tax breaks for the rich and eventually make government so inefficient that they will have the ability as large corporations to come in and privatize everything that is going on. And I sense that the American people have had it up to here. They are prepared to fight back. They do not want a government run by billionaires who have it all. Greed is uncontrollable. We have in Vermont, and I think all over this country, serious problem with addiction, with drugs, people drinking too much alcohol, people smoking too many cigarettes. But the worst form of addiction that this country now faces is the greed of the oligarchy. You might think that if you had $10, $20 billion, it would be enough. You know, kind of enough to let your family live the next 20 generations. But it's not. For whatever reason, whatever compulsive reason they have, these guys want more and more and more, and they are prepared to destroy Social Security, Medicare, nutrition programs for hungry people in order to get even more. That, to me, is disgusting. Mr. President, we are at a pivotal moment in American history. And having been all over this country, or many parts of this country, I am absolutely confident that the American people, and I'm not just talking about Democrats, who are as complicit in the problems that we have right now as are Republicans. Because we got a two-party system which is basically corrupt. You got Mr. Musk over on the Republican side saying to any Republican who dares to stand up and defy the Trump agenda, we are going to primary you. And on the Democratic side, you got AIPAC, and you got other super PACs saying, you stand up for working people, you're in trouble as well. We got a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires are able to buy elections. And that's why all over this country, people are not happy with our two-party system, the Republicans and the Democrats. Mr. President, this is a pivotal moment in American history, but we have had difficult moments before. And I am confident in the bottom of my heart that if we stand together and we do not allow some right-wing extremists to divide us up by the color of our skin or our religion or where we were born or our sexual orientation, if we stand together, we can save this country. We can defeat oligarchy, we can defeat the movement toward authoritarianism, and in fact, we can create an economy and a government that works for all, not just the few. Thank you very much.